Listen well, brother.
I'm listening.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
There can be only one.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Thirsty Thursday here on Mornings of Mischief. We're going to be talking some Star Wars this morning with Pops, but before we get to that, I want to bring attention to something. This is a fundraiser that is being run by Tom Connors. It's for his dog Sadie. She's a German Shepherd, and she has a tumor. Any help you guys can provide, anything you guys can do, share it out, donate, anything you can do would be very much appreciated, guys. She needs an operation. This is Tom's little Sadie, and she's gonna need an operation. So, guys, anything you can do, please share it out. This is such a beautiful little doggy. I love animals. We all love animals. And anything you guys can do would be greatly appreciated for Tom over at Midnight's Edge and for Sadie. And with that, let me welcome my guest. He's been going strong for 3 hours this morning talking about Star Wars. My buddy from Talk Hard, Pops. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, one and all. It is Star Wars Day indeed. We're having some fun. Let's do this. Hail to Valhalla and hail to you, my brother.
Hail, man! It's May the 25th be with you. Why? Because Star Wars came out today, 1977.
Right. Yeah. It all began today, and then also 40 years later, it's the anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which we'll be celebrating tonight, 6:30 on my channel, 6 o'clock to 7:30 at my channel with a great panel as well. So, but all day long, we have videos and live streams, stuff like that happening on my channel. Actually, there's a channel right now and video right now happening over there with me just rambling amongst myself. But no, it's important, I think, to just take a pause and talk about something that we love.
Damn straight. And a lot of people love the original Star Wars. If there's one thing that gets brought up over and over again is, oh man, I want to talk about Star Wars. What's like the current iteration? You go old school and you start talking about the OT. You start talking about the prequels. A lot of people are absolutely fine with that. You talk about the EU. People love talking about the EU. People that experienced the EU, that loved reading those books. Hell, Pat said something before we even started the show. What the hell? You could have called this talking books no one read with Pop, Star Wars books no one read, and Loki'd know what the hell the books were. And I'm like, well, I love the EU. I love the EU. I loved reading the EU. Bush McFadden says, now it sucks. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about it now. We're going to talk about real Star Wars.
Yeah, I kind of have like a moratorium on today, like for the stuff that I'm doing. I'm trying not to get into any of the negative stuff. I don't want to hear the KK initials. I don't want to get into any of that stuff. Let's just talk about the stuff that we love. And there's just what I found, Loki, is there's so many people who don't know some of the elements. Even this morning, we're on with Angry Canadian, who is a prequel baby, and it's like, watching the old commercials, because you know how I am about my commercials, watching interviews with George, watching the 1976 Comic-Con and other panels with them talking, recording with you, your memories. Like we recorded memories with you and Troy and Joker, and I've incorporated all of those in the intros and outros of my videos and stuff for today. I've ETEP coming on with me. He considers Empire Strikes Back to be the best film of all time, not just the best Star Wars film. So I have him coming on today. So we have just tons of that stuff to focus on the positive stuff and not get caught up with the negative.
You know, it's funny. You bring that up. The very first thing I did. Okay, so growing up in the 80s and the 90s, you're talking box TV sets, and I remember the first big screen TV I bought at Walmart. It was it's like $1,200, and it was it's one of those like TVs on wheels, projection TVs.
Projection TV.
Right. And it was like 50 inches. To me at the time, when you lived on 28 inches of TV, square TV, not even widescreen, getting something like that, getting it home. I had to have a friend like bring a pickup truck just so I could get in the back of it and we could get this damn thing. And it had the giant speakers underneath. I don't know if you remember that. And we got it set up. First thing I did was put in Empire Strikes Back because and I turned all the lights off. I had my surround sound system hooked up, and I watched Darth Vader beat the shit out of Luke. That's the first thing I put it on and I was just like, holy crap! My eyes were as big as saucers, and yeah,
it just takes you back to these moments, and I think there's just something that's so perfect with the timing of the film, what George was able to accomplish by capturing elements of all the things he wanted to work on. He wanted to do something with Flash Gordon, and he couldn't. He wanted to bring some sci-fi adventure Western stuff back to the fray. He wanted to see people also understand the depth of humanity and religion, spirituality, and hero arcs and adventure and all these elements. It was a perfect time. It's exactly why today to me mattered so much, was because we need that again. We need someone to step up, create a new adventure platform with all this sort of type of depth and world building. And we get snapshots for a short period of time, but it's just not quite enough. Or we see something go sideways and we get disappointed. And yeah, today's one of those days where we can just focus on some of that positive stuff for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a JBC. It was a JBC big screen TV. I don't even think JBC exists anymore.
Oh yeah, they were great though.
It's crazy.
Those big TVs were our first dose of like big TV. Like 50 inch was a big deal. Like get a TV that was up to 50 inches. It's a big deal to have a TV that big. And then it had like you said, it had the speakers and stuff incorporated on the front, so it was real easy to hook up some speakers on the side. So yeah, this was great. You get that booming John Williams music going. Oh yeah, rock on, man.
And you're just in awe with the lights out. You're like, holy crap, it's like being in the theater. Now people take that such for granted. They're like, wow, well, I got a 60 inch. Oh, I got the 80 inch. Oh, we've got our own in-house projection system. So was it rear projection? Yes, it was. It was a rear projection TV.
Yep. And we can go back to like Mark's content, because he's one of the OGs like me that we saw Star Wars back before it was episode 4, before it was New Hope. And actually, shout out to Troy Pacelli. He's going to actually do a rewatch of that tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. Central time tomorrow on his channel. As far as Last Call, he's going to show the original one. He has an original copy of. There's no New Hope. There's no episode 4 before the original version. None of that CGI. No Jabba the Hutt. No Boba Fett. No Greedo shot first nonsense. Just no. This is the OG original stuff. And Troy and I have a great video after this where we talk about, buying toys in 1978, the Sears catalogs. And, we were debating, like, I remember being a kid and I was feuding with some kid over whether the Jawas capturing R2 scene was during the day or the night. And I guess they changed the cuts. And reality was I wasn't as crazy of a person than I knew. Like,
there's 3 cuts. Yeah. There's 3 different cuts. So what you've got is you've got the theatrical cut of Star Wars. That's the one without the episode 4 bit. Then you've got the THX cut. Okay, so if you have the original cut on VHS, it's not going to have the episode 4 bit. Then you've got the THX cut. That came out in what, late 80s, 90s?
97.
It was 97. Okay.
Yeah,
well, is that the special edition or the THX cut?
I think that's the gold box, isn't it?
Okay, that's not the THX cut. The THX cut came out before that. So you had the THX cut, and then you 95. Have the special edition. So what happened was the film was degrading, and Fox was going to lose the film. So what Lucas did was Lucas paid out of his own pocket. He paid to restore that film. And that's when you get the THX cut. Now, the THX cut has better sound because it's one of the first times they ever used THX to digitally enhance the sound, which is why it's called the THX cut. Those were the black covers. Those Soul Assassin, those were the black boxes. I've got a set of those on VHS. Nothing was changed. Nothing was altered. All they did was it was like a higher fidelity. So you had better sound, you had better picture, but it brought out all the flaws. So you could see like all the boxes around the TIE fighters, like they were, they couldn't hide how they did stuff. Then they went back and did the special editions. And they tried to hide all that shit and change some stuff and add some stuff. But the THX editions are like super cuts of the originals. So
I was just verifying our dates in our timeline. There's actually a letterbox edition, which I don't have. I don't think I've seen this. This is the VHS transfer that they did in 1992 from the Laserdiscs.
Yes.
So that VHS set I do not have. I have the THX sets, and then I have the special edition sets and stuff like that, but I don't have the original letterbox set that was the original transfer. The OG stuff is like from the early 80s. There was like a delay of us getting them on VHS, but we did get them eventually.
Yeah, they wanted to keep those in theaters. They wanted you to keep coming back to theaters because they were making bank.
It was stated. That's what I tried to explain this to people. So you understand, Star Wars was part of my life for like 10 years. Like it just kept going because these would be reissued in theaters again. You'd go back because there was no home video. You didn't have VHS tapes and things like that until 5 years later. About time Jedi came out was the first time you could get New Hope on VHS. So yeah, you would just keep. It was all about promotion for Empire Strikes Back. It was lead into promotion for Jedi, and there was always more figures and more releases of this and a tease for the movie and things like that. So it just kind of kept going. So yeah.
And Pat S. And this is a big thing. I mean, this made Harrison Ford. because he would go on to be this guy that shot first. Of course, Han shot first. If someone is holding a blaster on you and is saying, I'm going to take you outside and end you, you shoot them. That's what Han Solo did. That's what Indiana Jones did. That's the way it worked. If someone came at you with a weapon, you pulled your gun out and you blasted them. It's
funny how bitter he's become, though, because I have that clip of him going, I don't care, when he's asked about it or whatever, and you're like, listen, I wouldn't even ask the man. I've seen him in action. He's kind of a grisly old dude. Leave him alone. Let him just be who he is. Han was super cool, kicking butt, taking names, as you love to say. And Arwen, yeah, it's it. This is it. Like, let's just enjoy the Han Solo that we know and love.
That's right. And don't let George Lucas or anyone else ruin that time. You know, George Lucas can say on retrospect, when I think back on it, I disagree with my thoughts on.
You're doing it wrong. You got to do Kermit. He's like Kermit. He's like, hey guys, we're just gonna make a little cut right here, and so we're gonna make a change right here. It's very, very low. Not much happens. Not a lot happens. Very low. It really is how he is. He's this little tiny dude too. When I would never say I met them because there was such a crowd of people who found them near the food court at one of the Star Wars celebrations. And George is like 5'6". He's an itty bitty guy, and I can't imagine this little itty bitty guy, blah blah blah, just trying to boss people around about what kind of edits and stuff to make. But that's Did
you see that documentary? So they were filming that documentary in New York, right? And they're filming this documentary. It has nothing to do with Star Wars. It has nothing to do with George Lucas, with any of that. And they pass George Lucas walking into a building. And they're like, wait, what? And they turn around and they follow him. And all of this is on camera. So they're recording all of this, and he's just, he like sits down like a normal human being. No one recognizes him. He's got on one of those plaid shirts. He's wearing mom jeans with sneakers, and he sits down and he has lunch, and nobody says a damn thing to him. And you're like, that's crazy. And they knew as soon as they saw him, holy shit, that's George Lucas. That was George Lucas. That was George Lucas. Come on. And they turn around and go back to the building. He's just sitting there at it's not even a restaurant. It's like a break station, like a little deli inside a building.
Bistro. Mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting there eating his lunch. Nobody's bothering him. Nobody's sitting with him. Nobody's talking to him. It's like,
they'd done a panel. And I was racing over to the food court so I could eat in between. I set my bag. I had bought this like cheap. It was like a $5 crystal skull 8x10 or something. It's terrible. It's like his face is in the shadows. But it came in like a plastic case that was worth $5. I'm like, for nothing. So I threw it in my bag. And my sandwich, I leave my bag and my food. I race over with a Sharpie and this 8x10 and stick it in this mass crowd of people that are forming around Harrison and George. And I could see Harrison, but you couldn't see George from that angle. And I just did like the scene right out of Last Crusade where you're putting your hands in the crowd and Harrison scribbles on my little photo. And that's the closest I've ever come to George. And really the closest I've ever came to Harrison. And I'm like, there you go. Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Dean Krantz says, when I joined the Marines and was promoted to Lance Corporal, I used that paycheck to buy a VHS player and a 24-inch TV for my back room. Then my roommates and I had weekend Star Wars marathons.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Trust me, I got to be honest. This has been such a great cathartic experience for me because I was realizing how full of cynicism I'd become. And I'm like, no, they don't get to have that over me. They don't get to take this away from me. And I know Mags was with me last year. We held a 25th celebration for the Star Wars Day. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be cynic. I'm not going to be there. So I said, what could be the craziest thing I could do? And that would be stream all day. Well, that's not going to happen. All right. Well, could I do this? Okay. Yes, I could do this. Well, I started blowing up people like this guy. Loki, could you film like a 30-minute thing with me? Yes, I can. Okay. Here's one checkbox. Okay. Can I do that like 6 more times? Okay. And I can do this. And it's like, that's how it all happened. And I got to be honest, man, when you can just start focusing on the positive things, you can enjoy commercials you haven't seen. You can see, what about the arcade game? Do you remember playing that? Oh, I remember owning this toy. I remember reading this book. I remember reading this comic book. Then you start to get filled with joy and happiness again. And all the other stuff I don't really care. I don't get into it. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
This is so much fun. This dude's like, did I stumble across George? Yep, there's George. Look at George. He just walks past him. Doesn't even know that's freaking George. He's got sneakers on. George dresses like that. I think that's the only type of shirts George owns. And I got to be honest, this is part of that genius syndrome where we're on the spectrum and we're like, people don't understand that. I'm the same way. I don't really want like a bunch of complicated clothes. I just want to have what I have and I can just go. I'm not into dressing up and changing, and my wife will take care of that for an event. Other than that, I don't care. Like I don't. And George is very, very much like that. Everything you see of him, he's in the button-up plaid shirts and jeans and t-shirts. Now he has so much, go F yourself money. He doesn't have to change or adapt for anyone else.
Psychodorp9 throws out a $5 super chat. Thank you, Psychodorp9. He says, 12 years old, front row, Darth Vader coming out of the smoke.
Yeah.
How many of y'all had an experience like that? Mm-hmm. Sitting in the front row of a theater, seeing Darth Vader come out of that smoke for the first time.
So the stream we had this morning was to kind of capture that first experience of what happened. And we kind of showed a couple newsreels and things like that were happening. And the biggest thing people have to remember too is the video that's playing right now is the video where I talk about Marvel, but we had comic books, we got trading cards. They came out, they rushed to print the John Williams records, the novelization, the kids' storybooks. So it's like, what did you do for Star Wars? Like as a little kid, I was 6 years old. I turned 7 during that summer, and it was like a nerd ranking, like how many times had you seen Star Wars? So that's why I remember, I know I saw it 6 times in the theater, and that was probably over the course of 77 to 79 before Empire. And that doesn't count the times I've seen it after that. The original run I saw 6 times.
Magtech Mags.
Get there.
Magtech Mags with $5 super chat says, Pops is right. No matter what they try to do now, they can never take away the joy from the memories we have from back then, nor what we choose now.
Amen.
No, I absolutely agree, Mags. Thank you, Mags. Thank you, Psychodorp9. You guys keep the fires burning bright here on Valhalla, and this one is just for you. We're gonna shoot a little nipple gun. Skull!
Yep. Awesome.
The nipple gun. Oh my God. You know what?
It's so cool though in hindsight. Like it's just like it's something different. Because that was what the mindset with all the design team was. Wow, can we just make it a little bit different? Could we just try this? Could we just try that? It's like, how can you just create something just more interesting? So instead of it being just a normal laser cannon looking thing, it's like we'll put domes on it so the snow wouldn't go inside. I'm like, okay, cool.
I do. I love Slave Leia. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Tim Hayes. And you can talk about Arwen, the nipple gun is way better than the green alien nipple milk. No, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. When you're watching these when you're a kid, every year, when I was in school, we got to watch these. So this was like what we did. Isn't that odd? This is what we did the last day of school. We would go out and we would do like a tug of war or something. When we come back in and watch a Star Wars movie, we'd go out and do a push thing. This push thing where we had to push on something or something, all work together, and then we went back in and watched a Star Wars movie. And we're having pizza and prizes and all kinds of stuff in between that. This is what we did for the last day of school every year. When I was in elementary school, we did activities and we watched the 3 different Star Wars movies. We never did get through Return of the Jedi. I think by the time we got to Luke saving everybody on Jabba's sail barge, that was it. The day was over. But crap, man. That was a yearly thing we did. Yeah. And I remember everybody fighting over who got to be who. And I'll tell the same story I've always told. I wanted to be Chewie. Why would you want to be Chewie? Because he got to hang out with Han. He got to hang out with Luke. I don't want to be those characters. I want to meet those characters. I want to hang around those characters. I want to, I want to be the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, we would pretend to hold our pens. I did it earlier today. We would have these pens like these, and you would try to get different colored ones, and those would be your blasters. And you would figure out what you could have at school that could pass for a lightsaber. And we would have bases under these bleachers if we got to be in the gym, and we were playing basically some sort of school version of an army war game at school. It was just part of your imagination that brought you so much happiness and joy, and for years of your life. It's just great. Just great.
No, I did not have a Star Destroyer playset. I had the G.I. Joe one. I did not have a Star Wars Star Destroyer playset. I would have loved a Star Destroyer playset, but I did not have one of those. So I had some Star Wars stuff. I didn't have vehicles though. That was like the horrible thing. I had some figures, and I had apparently some really rare stuff. I had the cloth capes. Those apparently were rare. I had some vinyl cape stuff. I had some figures that were apparently really rare. I just didn't have any damn vehicles. I would have loved to have an X-Wing or a TIE Fighter or something like that. I didn't have any of that. So,
yeah, Troy in that video that's coming up, he talks about the Death Star playset, and Joker as well in his memory hole. He talks about the Death Star playset. I never had that either. I did get shit. I had the land speeder first, then the X-Wing, then the TIE Fighter. That's all I had until I was 10. And then when I was 10, I told the story about getting my Millennium Falcon. So,
yeah, I didn't get to have any of that stuff. I didn't have any of that. So I've got the little, what are they? They're like the Eagle Moss set stuff, but I never had the like toys. This is all stuff I bought for me. I never bought the Lego stuff. I never bought any of that. I never had any of that. So as much as I love Star Wars, it's all been lightsabers, books, lore books, information books. I've got a ton of information books on Jedi, on lightsaber stances, on how lightsaber combat works, and all that stuff. I just never had like the toys.
You didn't have the droid factory playset with the Java.
I did have Jabba's throne. I did have that, the one that opened up. And it's like, okay, there's nothing below it, but when you open it, there's like little skulls and bodies and stuff below where he sat. I did have the Jabba thing, but I didn't have like any vehicles.
Here's the Jabba playset commercial.
It's Kenner's new Star Wars droid factory that you put together to make your own droids. Jawa action figures sold
that was me
separately.
on the right there.
I made R2-D2.
You can make your own droids or follow the droid maker blueprints. By switching different top arms
so
and
much later in
legs,
the
you can
game.
make hundreds of droids, up to 5 at a time. The movable crane swings parts where you need them. You can even make droids with wheels.
Gotcha.
The Star Wars Droid Factory. Jawa action figures sold separately. New from Kenner.
Isn't it crazy?
He made so much money.
He was so brilliant to do that too, wasn't he?
Mahogany Draws with $5 super chat says, in second grade, I always had to be Chewie. It's not until TLJ I realized how great it was being him. Duck Fizney. Exactly, Mahogany. No, Chewie was so great. Chewie is always my favorite. It killed me. I don't know how much I want to. For those of you who haven't read the EU, yes, he perishes in the EU, but he dies a noble death, saving one of Han and Leia's kids. And it's one of those huge sacrifices you never see coming, because you never think they're ever going to mess with the main characters. You know, they're never going to mess with C-3PO, R2-D2. They're never going to mess with these people that have been in these books forever, that have been main characters. And they do. I love Chewie. It broke my heart when they killed him. Thank you, Mahogany, for your $5 super chat. You guys keep the fires of Valhalla burning bright, and we're going to give you another little nipple gun action since it's Star Wars Day. Skull! Arwen says my first Star Wars t-shirt was Chewie. Yeah, he's the
It's
man.
OG,
Look at
baby.
that.
That's the 78 version right there, baby. It's the original one. I pulled out my box, my original ones, and I have my kids' box of my mostly Power of the Force type stuff from the kids. So yeah, it's the OG.
Oh, wow. That's very personal, Arwen. She even named her cat Wookiee.
Yep. Awesome, man.
Nobody got that. I tried. I tried to be funny, but no one got it. She named her cat Wookiee. Anyway, no, Arwen said her first Star Wars shirt was Chewie. She tried to eat it.
Oh boy.
I have my original Falcon, X-Wing, Rebel transport ships. I still have original Luke, Han, and Chewie action figures. DJ Ronnie G got it. Yeah. All right. At least somebody got it. I wish I had OG shirts. I wish I had any of my OG stuff from back then. I don't, though. So
I have to agree with the OG shirt thing. I really have kind of looked just kind of superficially. I never have any luck finding those like that screen print type style or whatever. I really would love to get that.
So I think the closest thing, and I say we've got, was at ICC Con last year. Eris bought all of the Emperors. So there's an Emperor from Return of the Jedi. There's an Emperor from Revenge of the Sith, and there's another one from the Clone Wars. She brought all three versions. So she got 3 different versions of the Emperor. And that was expensive as shit because they're all carded. They're all in the box and they're all carded. So.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any figures that would be even worthy. Even the stuff that I have that's still in packages wouldn't be really worthy of grading. Grading's way too sensitive and condition. I mean, it's very complicated. So yeah. Oh, Larry can do his own iron-on design, did his own. Oh, that's awesome. That's the way to go. I got to hook up with you, Larry, get some stuff made. Down with that. Let's do a Talk Hard shirt. Old school iron-ons. I
did have the Ewok Village. I did have that. I just didn't have any vehicles. But the Ewok Village, man, I remember my cousins were so pissed. So we were staying at my Aunt Phyllis's. And this was, man, I'm surprised I can even remember this because I was like maybe like 4 or 5. And obviously we go to bed, we wake up. My Ewok Village is all put together because my dad stayed up like half the night putting this shit together. You know, all the traps are there, the little rock traps that were in the net, all that's put together. Everything's put together. And my cousins had to put all their shit together because they just had it thrown in a box and wrapped up. They had to put all their shit together. And they couldn't figure out how to set up any of the traps and how to do all of that. And all my stuff was set up and ready to go as soon as I woke up that morning. And I was like, holy shit.
Very cool.
The ATSTs didn't stand a chance. No, they didn't, man. No, they didn't. I wish I had one, though. I wish I had. I didn't get to. I didn't have an ATST. I didn't even have a speeder bike.
Oh, I love the speeder bikes because they'd break apart. You know what I mean? So they did such a good job on those of giving you like the feeling of when they would cut them up. You know what I mean? So, you had the Ewok Village. You said
I had the Ewok Village.
Here you go. Here's
with the rock trap, and there was like a secret door.
Return of the Jedi. The rebel command force is captured by the Ewoks.
Yep,
What fate
that's
awaits
it.
them in the model Ewok village? The Ewoks line up their captives as Chief Chirper arrives in the lift. Han Solo is turned on the spit. No one can reach the Ewok village protected by the swinging boulder. Can C-3PO save his friends? Only you can decide with Star Wars toys.
And that's something.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Yeah, all day today, baby. All day today.
Fan Magazine did the survey on people's favorite character, and the Han Solo fans got pissed when Mara Jade won. I don't remember that.
I don't think those surveys get a wide enough breadth of the audience. Like I don't think I even saw a survey. Like it's like you would have to survey so many people to get a fair gauge. Sales, in my experience of selling cards and merch and stuff for years, is Boba Fett is by far head and shoulders above everything else. And then it would be Slave Leia merch. People still love Slave Leia merch for obvious reasons. And then we can get into a list of everything else.
Real Way Nation says, hi, Loki, can't stay, but I want to say I also throws out a member chat. He's 1 month Warrior of Asgard, says, Loki, so sad Mail wasn't in Kenobi.
Mara? Mail? When they're going for
Maul.
Oh, Darth Maul. Okay, yeah.
Darth Maul.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, they had to do the Vader thing, and some idiot was like, "Hey, we have to do the Vader thing," and then they fed it into the computer, and the computer told it what to go do with itself with its lifetime supply of chocolate. So,
R.I.P. Wade, baby. R.I.P. Wade. So, no, man, let's focus on the fun stuff, right? Like, that's why we, because we were having some technical issues when we recorded our little video. I have no idea why, but it just seemed like we could have talked for 3 hours about EU stuff. We could do a whole video on different story arcs and things like that. And we were just gushing over Timothy Zahn's work and your time to be able to spend time with him and that kind of thing. Yeah. Mock. Yeah. So good.
I wore out the VHS tape to Droids. Never saw Ewoks. You never saw the Ewok movies? Dude, you got to watch the Ewok movies. Chugga Trunk.
Yeah, they're
badass little Ewok.
They're fun. They're fun little cartoons, and it was really fun to see them try to figure out how to get to like little kids, because it's clearly the shift, right? Because it comes along much later. They do the comic book things too. It just they're trying to get to like little kids, and little kids were like, yeah, all right. That wasn't really it. Little kids weren't into the Ewoks and droids as much as they were like, listen, little boys want lightsabers, guns, and blasters and ships. And little girls wanted Princess Leia with the hair that would roll down. Just be honest. That's what they wanted.
Bush McBadden, who's been a member for 1 month and is a warrior of Midgard, says, Skull, hail Loki in chat. That's all I got. Old Gamer 72 Cutlass, who's been a member for 15 months, says, good morning, Pops and Loki. Hail. Tim Hayes, who's been a member for 1 month and is Warrior of Asgard, says, Skull, Stone Loki, Skull, Tim Hayes. And Captain Fandom Nerd, who's been a member for 11 months and is Warrior of Midgard, says, I still have the VHS for Star Wars. How many people out there still have their VHS tapes?
I have 2 sets. I have 2 full sets of the trilogies. Yeah.
I've got the THX, the black ones, and I've got the gold.
Yep. I have the exact same one. They're my bookends. They hold my books up. They hold my Zahn books and stuff like that. They're like the bookends for my novels.
So I almost got the widescreen, the silver one.
The silver box.
There is a silver box set that's a special edition. It's just widescreen. And I was going to get it from Columbia House, of all places. And my dad talked me out of it. He's like, why are you going to get that and spend 3 of your credits on that when you can get other movies when we got? And I was like, yeah, but this is the letterbox. And he's like, it doesn't make any, it's the same movie. This, of course, was in the 90s. Guys, it's the exact same movie. It's not a different movie. So,
yeah,
not to get the silver one.
Your dad was trying to be a voice of reason in the land of nerddom. Good luck with that, my friends. It's rough.
I wish I had. I really do.
Yeah.
I wish I'd gotten it, but I let him talk me out of it and get some other movies that I don't even own anymore.
Is there another IP that integrated itself into the fabric of society as much, though? Because I talk about, like, from People Magazine to Mad Magazine to cereal boxes, arcade games to shirts. Like, I'd say the only thing that comes sideways.
The only thing that comes close is Star Trek, I think, and that's not even. That's not even as big.
No offense to the Trek fans. I mean, it's not like it didn't permeate normies as much.
Because you had the toys, you had the games, you had the magazines, you had the movies, you had the TV shows, but there's a lot more Star Trek content out there than there was Star Wars. But is that necessarily a better thing? Because, you know, when a lot of this stuff started, I always was like, you guys need to make this. You guys need to make these EU stories happen, whether they're animated, whatever they are. You guys need to make these EU stories happen. That way we can share that. And when Lucasfilm was sold, I really thought that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is happening in a way. It's just not happening in a way that anyone saw, foresaw. And most people don't even want to happen.
Yeah, they don't.
It
They
happened
didn't do
this
a
way.
direct adaptation. Yeah,
They don't. It's just it's a sideways cherry picked whatever. And we're not going to get off on that because I don't want to go into all that. I'm just saying there's so many great stories out there, and a lot of people spent decades of their lives putting work into this. Working out what they could do, what they couldn't do, working with other writers, working within the stories, working within the boundaries of what they could do. And Jester's Darth Arlena says, Lord of the Rings. Maybe Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is huge.
Again, I'm not trying to take away from any other IPs or even try to draw a direct comparison, but it just seems like, and again, not on the scale of volume. So, like, just crunching some numbers. I mean, the Star Wars, the first 6 comic books sell 1 million copies. They save Marvel, like they may have saved comic books, right? So, the album, John Williams' original score on record, become a thing for kids. Like that's crazy to think about that. Like it's just so nuts. We were scouring for action figures at like the local drugstores. We were like looking for the ones we didn't have because obviously people would hit all the big stores like a Kmart or a Sears or Toys R Us even, but Eckerd drugstores where you could find the Tusken Raider with this new thing, or you could find this one, and like that was how crazy that was. I don't think other IPs kind of had that level. And again, I'm not trying to say Star Wars maintained that because obviously it fizzled out. It stops for a little while and we have resurgence and starts and stops. I think that's actually pretty healthy. Yeah, Batman 89 may be kind of the biggest thing that's comparable, but it's not like Batman as a whole. It's not like it created a big surgence of reprints of, Adam West's Batman stuff, or it was Batman 89 just went bonkers all the way through like 92, 93.
Lord of the Rings McDonald glasses don't hold a candle to the Burger King Star Wars glasses.
Yeah. Pat S is all about his glasses. Yeah, Taco Bell and Burger King, man, they're rocking on when it comes to their glassware. That's for sure. Yeah.
Magic Mags with the $2 super chat says Lucas was smart with starting mostly merch toys first. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was that big thing. Fox didn't see it coming. And Fox didn't care. Sure, you can have the toy rights. He's not going to do him any good. He's not going to make any money off of him. What do we care? And then boom.
Nobody thought it would make money. Nobody. Listen, I have the interview with Kurtz, and Kurtz is kind of like, is there a sequel? Yeah, but everything's so expensive. We'll kind of see how it goes. It's like, I don't know. Like, it's just, we'll see. It was a $9 million budget that made $450 million to the first. I mean, that's crazy. So, and that doesn't count what Lucas did. Lucas like, listen, I'll do my own merch, let me do my own deal, whatever. So Lucasfilm is the deal. Like Lucasfilm dealt with Marvel. Lucasfilm dealt with Kenner. A lot of that money didn't go to Fox. So the fact that he had this sort of like nerd, he's like one of us. He's like, listen, we can make some action figures, man. That'd be kind of cool. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do it. Let's find a way to do this. It's like, that's how he approached everything. And now it's like the genius, we almost take it for granted, the foresight that he had with all that.
Oh, no, absolutely. And Arwen says Star Wars is that coming-of-age story wrapped up in space opera sci-fi in a way that had never happened on the global scale. It shaped sci-fi from that moment on.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with you. And a big thank you to Makini Draws. Almost said Makini. Mahogany Draws for that $2 super chat, and Magitech Mags for yours. You guys keep the fires burning bright here in Valhalla, and this one is just for you. Yeah, we're going to do it again because it's Star Wars Day. A little nipple gun scope. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up.
While you're doing that, so we plug the day is crazy full of stuff. Obviously, I mentioned Troy, and then I have the live stream with ETAP. He'll be on with me talking about Empire Strikes Back. That's at 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Then I do a comic book review. I do Star Wars number 81, which is about Boba Fett. Then we have our expanded universe with you. That's at 12:15 Eastern, 11:15 Central. Clone Wars with Joker. I have open mic time at 1:30. So yeah, stuff all day, man. Stuff all day. Rock and
So
roll
this
day.
is from Hephaestus. You guys know who Hephaestus is. Says, ever since I used to go into arcades in the 80s, I've always dreamed of owning the Star Wars Atari arcade cabinet. Sadly, it was never meant to be. Then Arcade 1UP brought out their Star Wars cabinet. Unfortunately, being in the UK, I missed out on one. But then they released the 40th anniversary cabinet, which included a UK release. There was only one problem, and surprisingly, it wasn't how to hide it from my wife. It was, in fact, that as good as the cabinet was, I want to sit in cockpit. And so, I took my first step into a much larger world. After sourcing the decals, I laid them out on some 12mm half-inch MDF, used them to size the pieces needed, and proceeded to jigsaw them out and rotor the edges. Won't bore you with cutting footage, so here are some pictures.
Yeah, the cabinet was so cool. It was so immersive. You'd sit in this thing, and they had the speakers were right around your head. This came out in '83. We're just talking about this morning, and it was extremely difficult. Like, you didn't have cheats and stuff back then. You didn't know exactly what to do, and you're just in that trench, man. You're just getting laid waste. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful game. It was so much fun to play this thing, sitting there with that controller, and yeah, it's nuts. Good on this guy. Talk about next level
Look
stuff.
at that.
Man.
Look at that. Look at that
That is
control.
beautiful.
I didn't want to ruin the original Arcade 1UP cabinet, so I've constructed a new cockpit for the cabinet to slide in the back of it without damaging it and making new base and front panels for my legs to poke through.
Now that's an X-Wing.
Now it's an X-Wing. And you can hear the music.
Although, it still feels like there's just something missing.
Something missing.
Now that's an X-Wing.
That's so awesome. There you go. That's what it felt like. That's beautiful.
Blowing up the Death Star. That's about it for now. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed it and want to see more embarrassment and silliness, then please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching, guys. We're going to throw the link for this video out in here. And yeah, Rob is so great. The wonderful Hephaestus. Absolutely awesome. He's been a part of Valhalla since the very beginning. He's one of the first people to sign up and hang out here in Valhalla. So it is absolutely awesome to see him do something like that.
And there's the trailer for the actual 1983 trailer for the arcade.
It's great in the arcade.
Whoa! TIE fighters! Fireballs! Coming right at me! Watch the laser towers. Aim for the tops. Pick in the cannons. Use the force. They're coming too fast! It's Ray! It's Ray! My shields are gone! All right! I'm going in!
Oh, some game, huh?
Some game!
In a galaxy of video games, there is only one. Star Wars, the arcade.
Yeah.
From Parker Brothers.
Yep. Yep. That was a COG commercial. Yeah. I don't remember the cabinet. I mean, the stand-up one as version is the one you sit in. That's the one I remembered. But yeah, it takes you back. Takes it back. So, but no, I love the fact that everybody kind of has different sort of entry points in. So Oh, go ahead, Mag.
Mags with the $2 super chat says a lot of it marketed to kids and families, which helps. Lucas understood generational experiences with story.
Sure.
And he wanted something to last the test of time. He wanted you to be able to watch this movie 20 years from now and still enjoy it as much as you did the first time you ever watched it. That is something that is severely, it's just gone. It's just gone. That need, that want, that desire to, I want to make something last forever, it's just gone. It's just not there anymore. It's just not there anymore.
And just the creative prep time of what he was interested in doing as far as researching mythology and spirituality and intertwining so much depth in there. None of that happens now. And I think this is why when we go back and rewatch this stuff, it's just a big kick in the feels. It takes you right back to stuff we love. You know, whether you read a book or play a video game, you know, throw back in, you know, Battlefront, you know, go play Battlefront 2 and tell me how you feel when you're done. You know, it'll take you back, man.
Yeah. Shellback TJC with a $5 super chat says that Star Wars game got me a little cooked, but I'm okay. Red 5 standing by. Red 11 standing by. Red October standing by.
That machine was
simply red standing by.
That machine was a coin suck, man. Just take your money, man. With that machine was just like tough game back then.
Pat S, who's been a member for 15 months and a Warrior of Asgard, throws out a member chat and says, Pops is knocking it out of the park today. Thanks for doing a real Star Wars day, sir.
Oh, well, Pat S has been behind the scenes helping me every step of the way, so don't let him fool you. He and some other folks have donated their time and their talents to help me do that, and, you know, just trying to get in some good people. And I couldn't do it. There's no way to even scratch the surface. And people have so much going on, like there's no way to coordinate with Echo Base. They got their own thing going on tonight. X-Wing might be able to coordinate with him a little bit. He's got something going on. There's so much, and that's what I want. I want you guys to do stuff too. You know, pull out your cell phone, do a short today to find something fun to do. You know, do your own stream, do your own things. And if we could just do that, it'll be ours, man. We can own it. Today. We don't have to get caught up in the negativity for a minute. Let's just take a pause and enjoy some stuff. So.
Juster's Darth Arlena says, Red Box standing by. Yes. Red Box standing by. Of course, talking about the Family Guy.
Cronus has got Red Dawn. It's great.
Red Dawn standing by. Yes. Everything red standing by. Red Rum standing by.
Red Rum.
I sense something. A present I've been felt since actually Mark the Infinitely Tired just called me away for prepping the Bandit Trans Am. Thank you hugely, Loki. No, thank you, brother. You've been here, like I said, you've been here from the very beginning, man. Thank you. Thank you for the things you do. That's an absolutely awesome arcade machine, man, that you made.
It's incredible.
He created the Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker lightsaber for Mary's Game Room. I think that was last year as a giveaway or the year before. Not exactly sure. Dude, you've done so much for this community. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of it all. Seriously, man. Not many people like you out there. So thank you. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, it's a community of just wonderful people and very talented people. Like we have so much of this to keep doing.
Magcheck Mags with $5 super chat says Star Wars is basically an epic fantasy with a futuristic twist. The classic sense of adventure, hope, heroism, and romance. All of that appeals to most people. Plus a classic take on good versus evil.
Yeah. Just archetypes full of in redemption. Just so many great things. This is why Mag's going to be part of our Return of the Jedi stream tonight. Mags will be there. Our panel. We have a great panel. We have Daryl and Arlena. We'll have Mags. We have Arwen. So yeah, it's gonna be an awesome time. So that's yeah.
And this crazy idea that the father of the hero is this evil, maniacal villain.
Yes.
Yes. You know,
such a great twist.
Such a great twist and such a great way to go against like, oh, you know, my father wasn't in the Clone Wars. He was a navigator on a spy expedition. No, he wasn't. That's just the shit your uncle told you. You know, He was the best starfighter in the galaxy, a cunning warrior, and he was a good friend. He's a Jedi. He's a Jedi. I'm going to be a Jedi like my father. Well, guess what? Your dad turned to the dark side and killed a whole bunch of little young ones. Dude, okay. So, I saw all of the prequels. Let's talk prequels. We barely have any time left. We got like 4 minutes left, but I want to talk prequels real quick. I saw all the prequels in the theaters. But the most touching moment was hanging out at, it was AMC 30 in Pasadena, Texas, hanging out all day, waiting for midnight, waiting for that movie to go live. So we hung out all day. We partied at AMC 30 all day. People dressed up, people in costume, people with lightsabers, people watching the movies. And we see the movie. All 30 screens are showing Revenge of the Sith. We get out of the film. We're talking about it. And there's this little Leia, this little girl, couldn't have been more than 7, 8 years old. And her dad's carrying her out, right? And we're walking beside them. It's my best friend, my oldest friend, and my ex-wife. And we're walking beside them. And that little Leia lifts her head up and goes, Daddy, why did Anakin do all those bad things? And he goes, because he's Darth Vader. And she goes, I mean, just this audible gasp.
Yeah.
This audible gasp. Anakin's Darth Vader. And you're like, oh my God, that's so precious. Mm-hmm. That is so precious and so sweet. And just, I mean, that realization of that's Darth Vader, you know?
I remember. Again, Phantom Menace was the big deal with my little kids, and then they jumped out of their seats, pretending to have their own lightsabers and fighting against droids as well. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith came out with my best friend and my 2 boys, and we both kind of had this little little head nod going, huh, he pulled it off. He made me believe I'm good. I feel pretty good about things. He's like, yeah, me too. I think that was the biggest thing. It's like you felt so fulfilled. You felt like you were really seeing the journey of a character. You're really seeing his fall. You knew what his redemption arc was going to be, his son being his salvation. And you really felt like you were part of this world, and you could see these characters and feel what they felt. And the prequels, I think, have a ton of issues. And many of us that are, originalists were, nitpicky in a lot of ways because our love of it was so great. But at the end of the day, the journey is there. The backbone of the storytelling is definitely there. And I just felt, and when I rewatched that, I did a review on this the first of the month. I did a rewatch, and I felt the same. I felt like, yeah, it's good. It made me feel good. I felt what I needed to feel. I felt what that little girl felt like. Oh my God, he become Darth Vader. Oh no. Oh no.
Just that audible gasp of no, not Anakin, not Annie, little Annie, not little Annie.
Because when it happens in Empire, when this moment happens in Empire, you killed my father. No, I am your father. It was more like silence in the theater. And I have to agree with even like the normie nerds. I really felt as a kid, because I was like 10, I felt like Vader was a liar. He was lying to Luke. It was just part of the to get into the dark side, right?
Yes.
Then if you have someone that you take a look with my kids, they watched them in the order they came out. So they were exposed to the first 3 movies and they watched the prequels. So for them, with the journey and the arc, it gave them the same type of reward and the same type of feeling of accomplishment with the storytelling. Like you really get a good backstory to this character without changing the path. And the prequels did what they needed to do. And there were so many great moments. And I really do feel for George because his imagination is really, really incredible. And there's so many things he was trying to do that CGI wasn't there yet for. He was trying to break through. And again, we lose sight because we think of Lucasfilm as this big behemoth, but we have to lose sight too that they did have a budget. They were financing this themselves. Everything that they did on those prequels was George's money, his business. Yeah. So there were limitations. There were things he couldn't accomplish, right? There wasn't there yet. So, yeah.
A lot of people agreeing with you and say, yeah, that's what I felt too. I thought he was lying too. I thought he was absolutely. My dad said the same thing. He said, when that first happened, I said, no, it's a lie. He said, it's a lie. There's no way. But yeah, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was his father. And when I remember going to see, I had to drag my dad to go see Phantom Menace. You have to understand something. We were like Star Wars, like, man, a month we watched Star Wars. So it was like every month we watched Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. When my dad, when he would come home from being deployed in the Navy, they'd pull the carrier in. They would play Star Wars. They would play the theme song from Star Wars as they were getting ready to dock the aircraft carrier. I mean, we were Star Wars crazy. And he didn't want to go see Phantom Menace because he'd heard all the bad press about it. And I said, look, there's this epic lightsaber fight. We've got to see it. We've got to see it. And I remember afterwards, he said, I don't believe that this little kid's going to turn into Darth Vader. He said, I liked it, but this kid's too nice. Mm-hmm. This kid's too sweet. And I said, did you see that look he gave Obi-Wan in the Jedi Council chambers? He gave Obi-Wan this, like, you can go to hell and you can die look. Mm-hmm. I said, and Obi-Wan's going to be the one that trains him. I said, no, it's there. The groundwork's there. He gave Obi-Wan this, you can die and burn in hell look, in the middle of the Jedi Council chambers when they were talking about him possibly being a Jedi. I said, the groundwork's there. Just, it doesn't matter how sweet this kid is. His like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be the bestest ever is there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that, like I said, that battle, it got so emotional with the way he's like, you're the one, I thought of you as my brother.
You were the chosen one. You were supposed to save us, not destroy us. Yeah,
it just, you were there, and I think that they pulled all that off. And I think there are also so many things, like you said before, where you talk about Chewbacca being your favorite and other folks. It's like you had so many characters and elements and things that kind of fed into where you knew the story was going. So we got a little bit of Kashyyyk, you got a little bit of Wookiees, you got a little bit more, you got a lot more Yoda, you got Yoda in action, you got a little bit of this. So there's so much of that just made you, I don't know about you, but it's like it made me want more. It just maybe wanted to go back and read the comic books and novels. Same thing like what we talked about today. I maybe want to go back and read, Dark Empire, Heir to the Empire. Maybe want to go back and where are those Power of the Force figures? Okay, let's play with some more figures. Let's have some fun.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what we did. So,
any closing thoughts you'd like to make before we get out of here?
Everybody, look, just hopefully you can come and hang out with me today. I got some open mic opportunities. I'd love to see your story, hear your stories, your memories, see your toys, your collections, those kind of things. Have those opportunities. I've been able to thread things together. If you can get to it now during the day, there's I have a playlist full of this kind of nonsense, but I'm sure Chris knows the link to go over. And the one with Troy, the holiday special thing, is starting like literally as we speak. Go over there, and man, you talk about a dude that just knows stuff like this Star Wars stuff. And there's George. He was in my morning stream too. Hey, George. Yeah, just come hang out with me. Let's have a fun day today, guys. And Loki, thanks again for doing this, man. Hanging out. What great.
Oh no, thank you. No, I love talking to OG Star Wars. I do. And I understand there are people that don't want to talk about it. There are people like, oh my God, I'm Star Warsed out. Oh my God, I don't want to talk about none of this. I don't want to. Well, we're not talking about KK and her possible being fired or any bullshit like that. The things that go around there, you're just like, I'm honestly sick and tired of seeing. We're just talking about how we love the originals, prequels included, and what we enjoyed about them and what we thought was fun. Lady Miss with $5 super chat on the way out the door says, what a fun show this morning, Loki. Great way to start the day, remembering Star Wars and all the memories we share. Absolutely. This is Pops' idea. So it wasn't my idea. It was Pops' idea. Shellback TJC with $2 super chat says, like a bantha. Unfortunately, I do not have the bantha. I do not have the bantha skull. The bantha skull is on the other computer. I never moved it over. So I wish I could give you guys like a bantha, but I don't have like a bantha. I do not have it, so there's no way I can give that. There's no way I can give you guys the Like a Bantha skull. I wish I still had it, but it's on the other computer, and I don't stream on that computer anymore. Bantha, I can give you a Bantha. This one's just for you guys. Skull! Bantha, don't you wanna Bantha, don't you wanna dun 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 Bantha, Bantha. All right, guys, we're getting out of here. Don't forget to check up on Pops as he spends all day today talking about Star Wars, reliving Star Wars, what he loved, what you guys loved, what we all loved. Until then, take care, be excellent to each other, always speak friend to enter, and we'll see you guys tonight for the 7 Kinds of Mischief with the Mad Dr. Adega Outlaw. Take care, everybody.
All right, take care, folks.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.